Hey everyone, welcome to the Star Wars Rebels After Show here on AfterBuzz TV, Season 3, Episode 7 or 6. Nobody really knows the episode numbering anymore, but whatever it is entitled The Imperial Supercommandos, which is a super awesome title. We'll be breaking down the episode and giving you our thoughts and predictions for the future coming up in just a minute.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin!
I realize just a minute is not really an accurate representation of the amount of time. Can you imagine if
it's like 10 seconds?
If it was just like a minute of like dubstep and everyone's like, what's happening? Are we watching an after show or are we at like a dance party?
It used to be almost a minute long.
It was, yeah. The old intro was a lot longer, but we,
now it's like in 10 and a half seconds,
and
we'll
it's like,
see you.
Oh, hey guys, I guess it's time to start the show. Anyway, welcome to the Star Wars Rebels After Show here on AfterBuzz TV. Guys, if you're watching on YouTube, remember that you can also check us out on iTunes, which is a great place to, take this show with you on the go, so you can listen to it while you're driving to work or, walking your dog, wherever your day takes you. You can take us with you. Be sure to subscribe to us there. Leave us reviews. We've got some new ones. We'll talk about them a little bit later in the show. Also, if you are listening on iTunes, do remember you can also check us out on YouTube, which is a really fun place to be. We stream live at 6 p.m. on Tuesday nights, that is Pacific time, and we do have a live chat where you can get in on the Star Wars Rebels conversation with us. It's a real good time. So we are, of course, following along with that live chat, as well as the hashtag ABTVRebels on Twitter if you want to talk to us there. As many people do, we surely enjoy it. Allow me to introduce my lovely panel of ladies here this evening. Katie Cullen.
Hi, all my buddies. You can find me on Twitter at Kiaxet. That is Kiaxet.
Megan Salinas.
Hey guys, you can tweet at me at the Menguin. That's TheMenguin. And I have to say, hashtag ABTVRebels is like one of my favorite hashtags.
It really is one of the best hashtags that was ever invented. I can claim no credit for it at all since I didn't actually come onto this show until season 2, but
Megan's the OG here.
Yeah.
She was here when it started.
Yeah, but we called dibs on a really good one.
Exactly.
We did.
I happily adopt that hashtag. I love it. And I am Emma Fyffe. As always, you can tweet at me at my name, Emma Fyffe, EMMAFYFFE. Though, of course, I am like sort of casually Ray tonight.
It's so cute.
Yeah, so I want to give a shout out to Katie Elhofer of Elhofer Design, who she designed this Rey scavenger vest, of course inspired by what Rey wears in the end of Star Wars Force Awakens, and these are like separate armlet kind of things. It's pretty legit, is basically what I'm saying.
Well,
I know.
And it's perfect for
Peanut Gallery.
It's perfect for California too, because it can never decide whether it wants to be warm or cold.
Never. So if I get too hot, I'll just, take them off and we're good to go. Anyway, this episode, Imperial Supercommandos, just initial thoughts, feelings, etc.
I can always use more Mandalorians in my
Yeah,
life.
totally.
Yes, for sure. And my only complaint about this episode is that Sabine doesn't get to keep her jetpack.
I know. I love how very aptly at the end,
She's just so mad.
Yeah. After Gar, I think it was a little unclear. It seemed like it was Gar Saxon who probably shot her jetpack, but she basically was like, "Oh man, he shot my jetpack!" Like she almost fell to her death, but she's really more upset about the jetpack.
She almost falls to her death a lot.
Mm-hmm.
The jetpack is what's new and different in the scenario.
That is true.
And it's
really
awesome.
want them to stop building up her mom and just show us her mom.
I know. Seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they do. They mention her mom a fair amount. And if I have one takeaway from this episode, it is that I am convinced that the Mandalorians are basically like the Scottish clans of old.
See, I went straight for Irish because always fighting each other, but yeah.
Scotland was pretty well known for fighting amongst their clans until they all decided collectively that they hated England.
That's true. The Irish just had a huge religious war that only recently ended.
Maybe there's a metaphor
People
there.
fighting each other.
Yeah.
Yes, Mandalorians and kilts is the metaphor.
Yes,
that's what we need.
And again, I think that's kind of what they're going for here, because they don't really have allegiance to the Empire or the Rebellion.
Right.
Each one just kind of has allegiance to their own clan.
Sure.
And if they would just stop fighting each other, they would be a force to be reckoned with.
Absolutely. And I think that is something, because I mean, so Fen Rao, who we also see in the Star Wars Kanan comics, and of course we saw in season 2 of Star Wars Rebels, the whole sort of plot line around him initially was that, when they were, first up against the Protectors of Concord Dawn, like, they wanted them to join them back in season 2.
Yeah.
And that obviously did not work out, and basically what sort of resulted from that was that, after Sabine had her like sort of trial by combat with
her spaghetti western
encounter with Rao, that basically, they ended up kidnapping him, and the protectors were going to attack the rebel fleet, and then he's like, nope, nah, you know what, I'm just gonna call off that attack. And then, he basically has been in captivity, which is sort of where we begin at the top of this episode with, Sabine like playing him in sort of a
knife
space
chess.
Yeah, it is a space knife chess.
It is knife chess.
It is kind of interesting because I had a lot of like mixed feelings on our heroes in this episode. Not of course we love them,
of course,
and everything like that, but they are keeping this guy prisoner against his will. Like, all he wants to do is go back to his clan and go back to the protectors, and they've basically got him in a bind. They're not being cruel to him or anything. No, but they are still using him.
Yeah, and again, it is sort of that morally gray area of, okay, well, the protectors aren't exactly loyal to the Empire, but they're certainly not loyal to the rebels either, and they were previously like preventing people from using Concord Dawn to travel undetected by the Empire. So that's like, again, kind of a gray area in that, like, they weren't really carrying out the Empire's dirty work for them, but they were, so to speak, assisting them.
Yeah.
Because again, it all kind of comes back to that whole, like, it's all about, like, Mandalore.
Yeah.
It very much in the same way with Sham Syndulla, that it was about
their home planet.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's the thing too, is you can't really fault them for that.
No.
Because in a lot of ways, why should they care about the Empire? Why should they care about the rebellion? Because their planet has endured, like the way he puts it too. I really like the way Rao put it, is like, we'll endure the Empire, just like we'll endure your rebellion. Like, all of this too shall pass. What's important is what happens on our planet.
We'll just keep fighting each other, and everyone else can just keep fighting everyone else. It's fine.
The rest of the
it's
universe
cool.
can keep
All my
on
friends
turning.
are dead.
Well, and I mean,
not cool anymore.
And it is kind of, and it is sort of a confusing thing as well, because, during the Clone Wars, the Mandalorians, like, most of them were, again, they were sort of their own entity, except for, Death Watch, who all basically were loyal to Maul, and Maul kind of then, like, assimilated everybody into like a singular group, which was called Shadow. I'm totally blanking on the name of it. Shadow Collective. That's what it is.
That's a cool name.
Yeah.
If I ever run an evil an evil entity, Shadow Collective sounds like a really great name.
It is so Hot Topic edgelord.
Right, and again, it's
really
like,
is.
but again, it's all centered around Maul, who's not really loyal to the Empire either,
because they hosed him.
Very good reasons.
Yeah.
They hosed him. They kidnapped him at various times. So it's interesting to see the Supercommandos show up, basically like really legitimately being loyal to the Empire.
Yeah, and I like the way Ezra kind of put it, like, oh, I didn't know that Mandalore was loyal to the Empire. Like, I had no idea it was even a part of it. Like, when he's trying to stall for time. And
oh my God,
like
Ezra's stalling for time was amazing, by the way. Continue, Katie, and then let's talk more about that.
I'm not surprised that this particular group of Mandalorians sided with the Empire because, one, hi, we're the villains of this episode.
Sure.
And two, this is someone saying, look at all of the arms and armaments we can provide you, and it'll give you a leg up on all of your stupid little squabbles, and then you can help us later once you've taken over your planet. Right? Good, cool,
and
awesome.
I mean, siding with the Empire is like for somebody power hungry enough and strategic enough.
Yeah.
It is a legitimate strategy for uniting all of Mandalore
Yeah.
under your regime.
Yeah,
It's kind of Austria-Hungary making an alliance with Germany.
it kind of is, yeah. And I mean, it is
and then
interesting, though,
everything
because
goes to hell.
Because, like, we know that Sabine did go to the Imperial Academy. Like,
Yeah.
she absolutely was, like, on the, like, Imperial career path.
And ditched it.
Right, exactly. And then she defected and became a rebel, basically. Yeah, so it's...
That is interesting. It's funny because I never really questioned that before
Yeah.
in terms of, like, her choice to leave. Like, it never occurred to me that, like, she would have joined at her family's prompting.
Sure.
Or to please her family, and then had, like, a moral conscience of crisis or whatever. Like, for some reason, it didn't click to me that her family was probably the reason why she went to the academy in the first place.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, and I mean,
makes sense.
she's Clan Vizsla, so, like, Vizsla was part of, like, Death Watch, which was kind of,
That shadow collective
Yeah,
thing.
exactly, that Shadow Collective thing. Yeah.
Darth Maul was her king at one point.
At one point, absolutely, Darth Maul was certainly her family's king.
It's like, so you're a family of traitors, and so to make it better, go do this. And then she
Right.
goes, no.
Well, which, I
I'm like,
mean-
well, you made it worse.
Which is part of, like, Rao's issue with her in the first place. It's like, not only was she part of Clan Vizsla, who already are, like, very
Traitors.
sort of shady individuals, and extremely evil individuals in the case of some of them. But yeah, then on top of that, it's like, okay, she didn't, like, then side with Mandalore. She, like, straight up went full rebel.
Yeah.
You betrayed us twice.
Right.
How do you even do that?
Yeah, again, it's
With
kind
different groups of people.
again to bring it back to, like, the sort of Scotland metaphor. It's like she didn't, it's not like she was, on the path of being loyal to England and then came back to Scotland. She, like, went to Wales. You know what I mean?
Just hanging out in Ireland. Life is good.
Yeah, exactly.
Something, and maybe this is getting too off topic, and I
Right.
apologize for that, but, like, something that watching this episode really kind of resonated with me was how important family and legacy really is to the Mandalorians.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that made me sit down and wonder, again, because the canonicity of a lot of things for a lot of characters that was
Sure.
expanded universe
Yeah,
stuff.
absolutely.
That's very much been called into question. I'm like, if family and clans and loyalty and legacy are so important to the Mandalorians, where does that leave someone like Boba Fett, who doesn't have a family anymore? It's just like, I'm sitting here like, oh, Boba, no, that's so upsetting.
I know, but it is so interesting because for as much as we're learning, about Mandalore and about the Mandalorians and that sort of, like, crazed clan loyalty, again, Scotland, it is interesting because we do see so many kind of Mandalorian outliers because obviously, you have Jango Fett, Boba Fett, and you have not only Sabine, but also Ketsuonyo, Gina Jora's character.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, they're all
People who just got the hell out of Scotland.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and they're all very much doing, like, and for a while, wasn't Sabine a bounty hunter too? Like,
That's
with,
certainly what was implied by Ketsuonyo.
So I guess if you don't have a family to go back to, or if you're an outcast of some sort, bounty hunting is, like, the thing to do if you're a Mandalorian.
Well, obviously, I mean, as Ezra said at the end of the episode, he's like, no offense, but, like, the Mandalorians are crazy.
No offense, but your people are all insane.
Y'all are cray.
Yeah. I mean, but
Don't judge.
yeah, but
Ezra.
this is certainly a society wherein everyone, they can hold their own in a fight. Let's put it that way.
I kind
They
of heard
have to.
I heard the CinemaSins like, that's racist, ding. I had when he said that.
That's hilarious.
But you're absolutely right. I mean, this is a warrior people.
Yeah. But I wanted to backtrack to Ezra trying to stall when he got sort of kidnapped by Gar Saxon.
Oh, that was so funny. It's just me. Well, me and my droid. But he
doesn't count.
And it's like, oh, droid, that's racist.
And Chopper got so mad.
I like, just the noises he makes are just the
They're
funniest thing.
incredible.
I just love
God bless the
Chopper.
sound designer.
Yep, Chopper is the best. But then also with him, it was sort of the evolution of Ezra's, like, pretending to be somebody he
Lying
wasn't.
like a
Yes,
rug.
exactly. Where it started with like,
and here's
oh
the
yeah,
thing.
no, I'm part of Hondo Onaka's crew. He'll totally vouch for me.
The thing is, if they'd called his bluff, I'm like 90% certain that Hondo would totally vouch for him.
Hondo absolutely would have vouched for him. That was a smart strategy.
Yeah.
But then when they like kept pressuring him, he was like, guys, just kidding. I'm a smuggler. My name is Lando Calrissian.
Which
is also true in a Google search.
I absolutely love that he's taken those things and he's just incorporated that into whatever character he's portraying.
I mean, literally, Lando Calrissian is just his go-to at all times. Whenever he's like, I gotta come up with something.
I wonder
It used to be Jabba the Hutt.
I know.
I was gonna say, I wonder if Lando would be like offended or flattered by that. I imagine probably flattered.
Flattered
Probably.
until it becomes a problem for him.
Then he'd be like, kid.
Yeah, totally, absolutely. Yeah, I always enjoy. I like Ezra so much as a character for a lot of reasons, but I think one of the things that I do enjoy kind of the most about him is that whole sort of like street smart hero.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he was on his own
Way
for
back
so
to the
long.
Aladdin parallels, way back in season 1.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, there are some serious Aladdin parallels there, and I am super okay with it.
And the thing is, we didn't used to be able to do this in season 1, but now all of the characters have come into their own well enough that, like, we can put Ezra in an episode and it's not about him. Season 1, if there was an episode and it was him and one other person, it was about him.
Or very much in the case of this episode, like him and Sabine being paired together, like in season 1 or even probably early season 2, he would have spent the entire time like trying to impress her.
Totally.
But like, we don't need to do that.
We don't.
I
anymore.
love that we've hit the point where we don't need to do that anymore.
Absolutely
it's not
not.
about him. He doesn't need to impress her. We can have this great dynamic and send him on this mission with her and still have the episode be very much about her with really great moments where he just lies like a rug.
Yeah.
I'm glad that we can do that. I'm glad we've gotten there with the character development.
Yeah, and again, I mean, in a lot of ways, like, he was important to this episode, but he was almost like the comic relief. You know what I mean?
He was kind
He
of
absolutely was.
Yeah.
He was kind of there to provide a little bit of slapstick and a little bit of like the snappy Poe Dameron one-liners, like
Sure.
you talk first, I talk first, you know, that sort
And
of thing.
complain about strategy.
Strategy
takes longer.
Yes, absolutely. As Sabine echoed back at him when she eventually did rescue him from Gar Saxon. So let's talk a little bit more about this gentleman that we were introduced to in this episode.
Yeah.
And then there's this guy.
Yeah. So Gar Saxon is a character who actually would have been in Clone Wars if Clone Wars had continued.
That's cool.
Yes, he was originally planned to be in Clone Wars. His story that they planned for Clone Wars was eventually carried out in a Darth Maul comic. Yeah, so, and sort of the conclusion of that, so he basically, again, as I say, he's like part of the Shadow Collective. He rescues Maul when he gets kidnapped by Palpatine and has a big standoff with General Grievous, and ultimately like the best he can kind of say is like, oh well, you know, I survived.
I was there.
Well, and that's the thing is like, so like not too much really is known after that, except for the fact that obviously, after the dissolution of the Shadow Collective, he joined the Galactic Empire, as we see in this episode.
mean, that's not exactly anything to turn your nose up at in terms of like his resume. Oh, he only stole, like, saved Darth Maul from Palpatine, you know, the Emperor, and stood against General Grievous, the guy who can hold multiple lightsabers and spin them in a deathband at your face.
Yeah.
That's like that's impressive.
I feel like it might have been one of those situations where you live through all of this, you do all these things, and you get this far, but you never quite hit where you want to go. And so at the end of the Clone Wars, it's like, you know what, screw it. I'm allying with these people. They can give me the tools I need to get what I want.
Yeah.
Like, it's always been a when you try your best and you don't succeed sort of thing.
With the Republic, you know, being, you know, changed into the Empire,
Right.
a lot of that probably felt... like it amounted to nothing, and so
It did.
Yeah, so
It
yeah,
did
in
for
a lot
him.
of ways. And what changes with Mandalore? Absolutely nothing. It's just continually fighting each other.
Yeah.
And so it's like, hey, maybe, you know, we went through all that, and at the end of the day, Mandalorians are still killing each other. Why not try a different tactic? And maybe through the Empire, we can unite our entire planet.
Listen, I am just starting to realize that Clan Vizsla, they are House Slytherin. You know what I mean? Like, they they're ambitious, and they're going to do what they need to do to get ahead. They're like the Slytherins that are like
worst Slytherins.
They're the bad kind of Slytherin.
Yeah, they're the ones that give the rest of the house a bad name.
Stereotypical Slytherins.
Right.
Again, the bad
As opposed
part,
to the good Slytherins.
Right, exactly.
us. Yeah. Again, the bad part about this particular, because it's not a terrible notion in and of itself when you have a war-torn
absolutely
planet.
not.
But the problem is when you bring in personal vendettas into that agenda, it's like, I can take out that group of quote-unquote troublemakers.
Yeah, I was always planning on killing them, but now I can do it for these. Oh.
Yeah,
right,
exactly.
absolutely. And I mean, and that
I don't know where that came from.
and that was something that Rao, realized right away because initially at the beginning of this episode, they had lost contact with the protectors, and so Hera basically, gave them her blessing to go and
take our cranky guest,
exactly,
aka prisoner,
exactly, and investigate. You can't land; just go see what's going on. But Ezra got distracted, and
well, the thing is that he's been such a model prisoner.
Sure.
Again,
he has been really well behaved.
They don't really treat him like a prisoner. He's very much a prisoner, but they don't treat him like a prisoner.
Sure.
So you don't really think that that's going to happen. You let your guard down.
And even when he's being held in captivity, he's still having these very thoughtful discussions with Sabine, and he's very civil, and he's like, you need to rethink your strategy, and, maybe there's some hope for you yet, Mandalorian child, that sort of thing. So
right.
You can tell he has a lot of, he's not an evil person.
No.
He also won't hesitate to take the first opportunity to escape.
Right.
Well, and I think Ezra probably has not had a lot of dealings with Mandalorians in his life outside of Sabine, and Sabine doesn't exactly fit the mold that you would expect a Mandalorian to fit. Right. And so Ezra's probably just, he's a model prisoner or whatever, and you don't really think about it.
Cool.
And Sabine's like, we have a Mandalorian who doesn't like us back there. We need to be on high alert at all times because I know what Mandalorians are like. I am one.
Nah, this guy's cool. He's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. And I think you're right too that it's like he, by his estimation, is gonna be able. Rao, that is by his estimation, gonna be able to handle this situation better than Ezra or Sabine would, even Sabine, because from his perspective,
not really Mandalorian anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
You're a
No,
traitor,
I mean that is really what it is. Is he's like, you're not that he views her as being not Mandalorian anymore.
You went overseas, you lost your accent. We're done.
Yeah, totally.
No, that was Hera.
Hera was the one that lost her accent. I mean,
I was going for the metaphor, but I like that.
It's true. But yeah, but I mean, and then to show up and find that all of the protectors have been completely just murdered.
Wiped out. Goodbye.
Which, again, it's
Very Star Wars.
Yeah, very Star Wars.
Burning bodies.
Goes right back to A New Hope with Aunt and Uncle. And it's really upsetting too, and it just goes to show that we've come a long way from where we were in season 1. That we can see a place, step away for a little bit, and see it as a smoking wreckage the next time we see it, and in no uncertain terms say, nah, people weren't evacuated, they didn't run away, they are dead.
They're dead. They are super dead. They are not coming back. They have shuffled off this mortal coil. They are ex-Mandalorian. I know about half of the dead parrot sketch in various pieces. So that's where we're going with that.
Yeah.
I
mean, and then I also, when later on Rao and Sabine have they start to kind of see eye to eye in that moment where he basically says to her, if I weren't captive, I would also be dead.
Yeah. And that's a thought flip on his part, because it was initially, I could have been here, I could have done something. Oh, wait, no, he was planning on basically nuking us from orbit the whole time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's something he has to come to terms with, too, because, he still leaves them. He still abandons them.
Sure,
And then, only later has a change of heart and goes back for them. Because I think, I mean, they did capture him, so it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, you saved me, but you also, that wasn't your intention.
I mean, again, as we say, it's like, it's such an interesting sort of character dynamic, because even when we were first introduced to him, like, though he was in conflict with the rebels, and they did shoot down a couple of A-Wings, which wasn't great, they weren't really bad guys.
Yeah.
Sort of, they were people you're like, I understand your point of view.
They really just wanted everyone to stay off their lawns so they could keep fighting with their neighbors.
And again, there's like, you can totally understand that,
right?
And it's something you can empathize with, because there are plenty of times where you're just like, hey, I just want to deal with my problems right now. I don't need your stuff going on right now.
I mean, which constantly, brings up that dilemma that always exists in any time that you have sort of a great big scale conflict like we see in Star Wars, and certainly we're building up to where we are at the beginning of A New Hope. It's like, yeah, but if you're in this world, can you really not be involved?
Yeah, exactly.
Isn't it your problem?
It's everybody's problem. Don't pretend like it's not.
Right. I mean, the thing is, it's like you can 100% sympathize with the people that like
just want to go about their lives.
Right, because they didn't start this.
No.
So, yeah, again,
they just want to farm for moisture.
Yeah.
That's all they want.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But even if the Empire hasn't made it to your door yet, it's only a matter of time until someone shows up.
Mm-hmm.
But with, again, kind of going back to Rao, and this is a lot for him to process too, because everybody he's cared about is now gone.
Yeah.
And so, like, yeah, he's planning on leaving Sabine and Ezra, but, like, at the end of the day, like, if he had chose to leave them behind, what does he have to go to? Like, presumably he has no one to go home to. He's got no home. He's got no allies, so...
Yeah, all of his crew is gone.
Yeah, the only people that are left who have been very civil and even kind of semi-kind to him are the people who have had him captured for months.
So it's like, I've decided to join you. I'm like, yeah, what's your other option? This isn't the big character revelation that we thought it was going to be.
No.
You have nowhere to go back to.
But it was still extremely humble, too. They're like, oh, are you joining us? And he's like, if you'll have me. Because, again, what does he have
did ditch
left?
them.
He did. I mean, exactly. I mean, it was such a great moment because, building that sort of, like, dramatic tension of, okay, so Ezra, like, throws himself into the fray is basically a distraction. I don't know 100% that he intended it to be a distraction. I think he maybe thought he legitimately stood a chance. Oh, Ezra. But then, Sabine and Rao, like, went off, and he's like, hey, I know somewhere safe where we can look in on them and kind of regroup and strategize and figure this out. And that's when, they start to kind of connect. And so then Sabine goes in to rescue Ezra, thinking that, great, Rao is on our side. We're all going to get out of here. This is going to be great. He's on the ship. Don't even worry, Ezra. And then he just takes off on the ship.
Son of a...
Yeah.
Well, and if you look at it, Rao keeps referring to Ezra as a pawn.
Yeah.
Like, he's not important.
Oh, yeah. There's a whole chess metaphor we're not even touching.
I know,
Like, and I kind of saw it as he's not a Mandalorian, therefore he has no stake in this.
Yeah.
He's not important. And Sabine's just like, what is wrong with you?
Right.
This is my adopted clan. I have chosen them. They are mine.
It's very interesting that in a season with Thrawn as, like, our big bad, our big malevolent threat, that we have a chess metaphor, and to have somebody blatantly say, this person I care about is not a pawn.
Right.
And it's just like, that has a lot more weight to it when Thrawn is in the background.
That is true. Yeah, it is sort of like a bigger scope kind of thing of, like, I'm sure we'll see that come back, because Thrawn certainly views them all as pawns in his game, who he's manipulating to be exactly where he wants them. So, yeah. I'm really, really looking forward to the first encounter between Thrawn and Sabine.
Yeah.
The artist.
Yeah.
Oh, it's gonna be so good.
Yeah.
But in terms, again, coming back to this episode though, how about that jetpack?
That was literally exactly what I wanted to talk about next. Because those jetpacks were sick. That was awesome.
Flying stormtroopers? Even worse, traitors.
First of all, again, Boba Fett with his rocket pack is real cool until it's his undoing.
Yep.
But also, Rocketeer was one of my favorite movies growing up. And this is essentially like a team of Rocketeers like fighting one another. And it's just like, ooh, guys, this is so cool.
Yeah. No, and I just, it was great to see, like, even though ultimately this episode for me was really about Rao, it was great to see Sabine get to like be kind of a badass. Like, she is a badass, but like to really like show it off in this episode.
And to have like, again, this is every in each season we all get our one-off character episodes.
Absolutely.
And this is the second one with Sabine, like, in a very short amount of time.
Yeah.
And I'm very grateful for that because I feel like her and Zeb kind of get the short end of the stick a lot of times when it comes to, like...
They really do.
They do in a way because, you know, they're not Force users and they're not
not the mom or the dad.
They're not the mom or the dad. Exactly. Yeah, but I mean, it was... But it's also, like, great to see them doing the things that they're really good at. Yes. And, you know, Sabine is incredibly resourceful. And, she's clever in the way that she goes about dealing with things. But at the same time, it was so awesome to see her just, like, beat the crap out of Gar Saxon when she loses her gun and then she just straight up gets in like a punching match with him.
That was awesome.
She can physically hold her own, and we've known that for a long time.
Yes.
But also the idea that strategy it's not something that she leaves up to people. To other people. She can think on the fly, but she can also plan ahead.
Yep.
And like again, those are very useful attributes to have when you are fighting a rebellion.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, when she and Ezra were cornered basically by the Imperial Supercommandos, and she pretended that they were going to surrender and immediately turned to Chopper and was like, "Listen, on my mark, you're going to broadcast this thing to this frequency. Go."
And just like, taking her helmet off, like, oh, it's a sign of surrender, and I'm just going to place it conveniently on the top of this droid over his antenna. No, seriously,
it's
do
symbolic. It's symbolic, guys.
It's symbolic. Destroy them all.
Yeah, and she got her jetpack, and they made a run for it.
But yeah, you brought up a really good point earlier. This is the most I think we've gotten about her mom. And the idea
Show us mom.
And the idea that, like, her mother wasn't, like, because you kind of get a lot of mixed feelings about her mom the first time she's mentioned. It's just like, oh, her mom's, like, kind of with some of the shady Mandalorians. But here, it sounds like she wasn't given much of a choice in the matter.
Which kind of leads me to wonder a little, and I mean, we got a little bit of it in the episode with Wedge, because Sabine was like, yeah, I actually, was in the Imperial Academy, so, like, let me be the one to infiltrate. I got this. I'm going to be the least sort of detectable.
Been there, done that.
Right, but at the same time, it's like, because we know now that maybe her mom was not necessarily able to make a choice on her own, that maybe there was sort of some pressure from within Clan Vizsla, because, again, they were not the best Mandalorians during the Clone Wars.
And even though Sabine defected, like, we don't think about, like, the repercussions for her family, and
that's
for a
very true.
For a group of people that, like, really value honor, it's just like, the kid dropping out and joining the rebellion.
Right.
That's...
Well, and I mean, I think it could very well be an issue of, and this happens in real life too, with like certain religious orders and things, where it's like, if the kid decides they don't want to be that thing anymore, some like culty sort of things are so strict that it's like, well, if you still like recognize your child, then like you will be shamed and
shunned.
We're
Yeah.
talking about Scientology.
Well, you know, I mean,
Let's be completely real.
There are plenty of others. Let's
There
also
are-
be real.
The sad truth is that there are plenty of things that are applicable to the vagueness that we're talking
Yes, exactly.
about.
Exactly.
Far
Exactly.
too many.
Yeah.
And that's a real tragedy.
It is a
Yeah.
real tragedy, but again, I think that that's totally within the realm of possibility for Clan Vizsla in particular, because again they are like rooted in that like Mandalorian family loyalty honor kind of system.
Yeah. And we also now know that Sabine's family, even if like she might have disgraced them or whatever,
Right.
whatever you want to call it, however you want to view it, her mother's actively looking for her. It's like, oh, that's interesting. I'm wondering if she's sending like bounty hunters out to like try to find like what is the extent of the family's investigation in trying to find Sabine.
I mean, at some point we're gonna have to see her.
We are.
definitely.
We've laid too much ground for it not to be. I
Yeah.
mixed my metaphors there, but you know what I mean.
There's a lot
Yes.
of groundwork here.
Yeah,
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
absolutely. Yeah, I am definitely very curious if what Gar Saxon said is true, or if what Sabine claims is true.
I wonder if that's one of the reasons why Sabine is constantly changing her hair. It's like, it's one of the ways where she identifies herself and how she separates herself from the rest of her family.
Yeah.
Because it would not surprise me if she did not come from like a family who embraced her artistic nature in any capacity. They're like, no, you're going to do this.
Yeah.
So-
Well, and also hair is a big descriptor.
Yeah,
They
that's
ask
true.
for your eye color, they ask for your height, they ask for your skin color, they ask for your
Yeah.
hair color. So it's like, it's not pink anymore, now it's green. And they're like, oh, well, the thing said she had pink hair. Or the
Right.
thing said
White
she had
purple
green
now.
hair, and now it's purple.
Yeah.
Okay, that's not her.
That is a good way to keep people off your trail.
Yeah, I think there is certainly a slight element of her being, on the run, and in addition to it being sort of her personal rebellion and, sort of her.
She's on the run from the Empire and her family. That's
Yeah.
real sad.
Yeah, that's kind of rough. Though I'm very much looking forward to her mom showing up because we don't get really any like mother or child relationships in Star Wars for the most part.
Yeah.
So like
Well, it's
moms
owned
tend
by
to
Disney.
die.
Moms always die.
Yeah.
Moms tend to die before that
yeah.
happens.
So I'm really glad that Sabine's mom is alive. Disney, please don't kill her off.
The closest thing we have is, Hera being this nurturing
Mother figure, yes.
But yeah, in terms
We
of
have
like
potential in the films for Leia and Kylo Ren.
That is true. That
We
is
have
true.
potential.
oh,
That is true. But I would like
But
to
I'm not putting my eggs in that basket.
I would like to specifically see like a mother-daughter relationship.
Yes.
Though.
yeah,
So
that's
Yes.
something we don't really get a whole lot. We're not going to get it in Rogue One either.
no, but oh,
Maybe
man,
we can
Rogue One.
extract mom from where she is, and it's like, you're part of the rebellion now. You're with us.
Yeah.
Yay.
Well, I mean that's what happens with Fen Rao at the end of the episode, which I was so happy about. I still want Ketsu Onyo to come back. That's my number one.
Absolutely.
I want her to join the team. I need Gina Torres in my life at all
I was going to
moments.
say,
Yes.
our lives are enriched by the inclusion of Gina Torres.
Yes.
Who does not need Gina Torres?
She is
Whoever says
everyone's.
that is
Yeah,
wrong.
she's everyone's sexual orientation. I don't care who you are.
Yes.
Gina Torres
She
is amazing.
come back in Robots
Accurate.
in Disguise, too.
Seriously.
Oh my
God.
God.
There's so many like spiders and crabs and
Yeah.
type
I
of
think that's
Transformers
a-
running around right now.
I
Why
think
not?
that's a level of consequences that Robots in Disguise is not prepared
Not
to
quite
handle.
ready to deal
but
with.
that's Thursday's
Yeah,
show.
well, we'll talk
Yes.
about it on Thursday, but shut up and take my money is all
Yeah,
I'm
but
saying.
Pretty much.
I liked that Rao, came around at the end of the episode. I mean, he came back to rescue them because he kind of realized exactly what we've been talking about in this episode, that like the rebels, that the crew of the Ghost and on a sort of larger level the Phoenix Squadron in some ways, like they are
Family.
they are Sabine's clan now. Like
And now he doesn't have one, so
right.
this is a clan.
Can
he
I be in
join.
your guys' clan?
Yeah. Totally.
Can I sit with you?
Yeah. So I don't know. Do you? I wonder how involved Rao is gonna get with the group. You know what I mean? Because I
Yeah.
feel like we brought Captain Rex in as part of sort of the main crew last season, but he's not like a key player in every episode.
Exactly. I kind of feel like it's going to be the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Where-
he'll be about that incorporated. But yeah.
I would love an episode with like all of the people they bring in who are kind of ancillary characters. I'd love to see an episode with all of them going off on a mission together.
Sure,
Wouldn't
Wouldn't that be wild?
That would be great. And I gotta say that I like having somebody with Rau's temperament on the team. And again, with the looming shadow that is Thrawn, it's nice to have somebody who puts strategy first and foremost.
Yeah.
And who is good at it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm definitely very interested to see how Rao sort of gets incorporated
Thrawn's still
into the
gonna
crew.
have them running in circles and everything like that, but it's nice to think. And again, like all of these different people that they're incorporating, again, it's nice to see the different personalities because they've brought in several old grizzled warriors into this group, and not one of them is like the other.
Right.
Yeah.
It takes all types.
Totally true. In the hashtag, at Herrero72 asks, with Gar Saxon back, do you think he holds the Darksaber and will Sabine challenge him for it, or maybe Maul? Nice tie-in to Clone Wars. We've seen images that look like it's Sabine with the Darksaber. I don't know that he necessarily has it, but that would make perfect sense.
The great thing about trailers is that it's so easy to take a moment or two completely out of context and throw it in there just to make people scream.
Exactly, but obviously we do know that Maul is around as well.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah,
But he may have just exited stage left to go pick a fight with Obi-Wan.
I'm pretty sure that's what he did. But you're absolutely right. I mean, last season they had the Ezra with Kylo Ren's lightsaber looking style of lightsaber and everything like that with the crossguard. So yeah, it could be just kind of a scene taken out of context, meant to look more significant than it actually is.
That's where I'd put my money.
But at the same time, all of the pieces are still in place for Sabine to actually have the Darksaber. I mean, that would be great, right?
Yeah, it would be. And then he also asks if we think that Bo-Katan, who is a character who was known to be loyal to Pre Vizsla and part of Clan Vizsla in the Clone Wars, is in fact Sabine's mom. We've seen Clone Wars characters be parents of characters in Rebels. I don't know, only because of the comment that Sabine made about, like, her mom not having any choice but to side with the Imperials, but I don't know. I think it's certainly not out of the realm of possibility.
I think we're just kind of Kanye shrugging, and we'll see later.
I think after the reveal that Hera was Cham Syndulla's daughter, I think a lot of people are kind of hoping to see similar
you know what?
ties.
You're totally right. And again, it's like I think it really could definitely go either way. So
yeah, it's a
We'll
fair
see.
theory. Yeah.
definitely a very good theory. And whoever she is, I want to see her.
Well,
Yes.
and again, just given the fact that Clone Wars ended just a little bit earlier than they expected, now that Rebels has been doing that, like, that's what people want to see, is they want closure for a lot of those ongoing stories.
Yeah, absolutely. So before we start to wrap things up here, I do want to take another moment to talk to you guys about the wonderful world of iTunes. Thank you guys for leaving us iTunes reviews. It makes us look really good. It makes our producers go, oh, hey, people like the show. We should let them keep talking about Star Wars Rebels. It's a great time. And it also makes us look legitimate to people like Disney XD, and Lucasfilm, and helps us get sweet guest stars in here like we have had in the past. We're working on it for this season. It's a very busy season.
It's a busy everything
right
for
now.
everyone.
So stay tuned. I'm sure we have a lot of people who've said that they are definitely interested. It is just a matter of scheduling. So,
Yes.
but anyway, Katie, you said we had a couple new iTunes reviews that we want to give you guys a shout out for, because we like it when you say nice things about us.
Yeah, we have Their Knowledge of the Force is Unbeatable from Prodigal358. Hi, everyone. Long-time listener, first-time caller. I just wanted to say two things. One, your passion for Star Wars Rebels is almost tangible from this side of the speakers. Two, I have a question for the panel.
Ooh.
Since there can only be 2 Sith at a time, how would you classify the Inquisitors? I think they're akin to the Sith Acolyte and Knights of the Old Republic.
Yeah.
It's like, you're not quite Sith. You're Sith intern.
Yes, you're like Sith adjacent.
Can we just stick with that?
Yeah,
That's good. Sith
yes,
adjacent.
100%.
And then the other one we have is Very Smart Podcast from Jen from Long Island. I've been listening to you guys for a while now, and I'm very impressed with all the Star Wars geekery you know.
Aww.
You guys are the best.
You are wonderful. We adore you guys.
Yeah.
So yeah, Please review. It keeps us on the air.
Exactly.
And
we like hearing
makes
from
our
you.
day.
Yes.
Well, with that being said, let us dive into some predictions. Maybe.
There we go. Just a moment of radio silence, like.
So we already delved a little bit into what we think is going on with, Fen Rao and how sort of involved he's going to get in this whole situation. Eventually, I feel like Gar Saxon and Darth Maul are going to have a talk, an encounter.
Just a chat about
Yes.
about old
Taking
times.
over planets without me. I thought we had something.
Yeah.
I saved you. Is that
I
comic canon?
saved you, and you left me.
Yeah, that's comic
Okay,
canon.
it's canon. Okay, yeah. Then I saved you. You owe me, Your Majesty.
Yeah, Your Majesty.
I saved you, and you left me, so I took over a planet.
Yes.
I hope you're happy.
And then in the preview for the next episode, we see that it's going to be another appearance of our dear friend, Grand Admiral Thrawn. And there's going to be some sort of storyline involving Constantine.
Is there a wedding?
I don't think there's a wedding. No, it did not seem that there was a wedding. So.
If we ever have a wedding come up in an episode that Thrawn is in, I don't think any of us will ever live it down.
Yeah, no, I don't think we will. But yeah, Admiral Constantine is being forced into taking command of the next sort of attack on the rebels. Basically, it seems that the next episode is about like a planet that they're evacuating secretly and the rebels are trying to help them out or something like that.
It's a trap.
Yeah.
You don't say.
Yeah, and Admiral Constantine is gonna be taking center stage as the Imperial Order officer in charge, much like we saw Slavin forced into a leadership role previously. It seems like Thrawn is like pushing people forward, which is very bizarre.
Pawns to be sacrificed.
Yeah.
They can only move forward.
Yep.
Yeah, I know.
Just
right?
a concerned. Ooh.
I am really looking forward to whatever ends up happening with Agent Callus this season.
Yes, and especially with what we had with Rao earlier, and I didn't want to bring it up because I thought it might be too off topic. But with Rao having his turnaround, like I know that quote unquote, according to Callus, we're even. But
Sure.
like it's not that far fetched, especially with having Thrawn here, who is willing to sacrifice people willy nilly. When we know that Callus, even though he quote unquote took credit, I don't know why I'm saying quote unquote, he took credit for
a genocide.
that
Absolutely
he
took credit. Yeah.
He didn't necessarily commit. He was there, and
Yeah.
he certainly killed people, but like he didn't commit genocide, but he certainly took credit for it.
Yeah.
Like. We see that he does care about people. He cares about the people he lost, too. Like,
Sure.
people aren't as expendable to Callus as they are to Thrawn. And
Absolutely. Absolutely.
he's
It's
seen
only
the
in-
positive attributes, with that the rebels have, and so he's gonna die, guys.
You know that Thrawn is pushing these people forward to see how the rebels will react so he can get a bigger picture
Yeah.
and then be able to make the actual strategy.
Yeah.
It's only a matter of time until Thrawn runs out of people or the rebels, he wants a bigger challenge for the
Yeah,
rebels, or
yeah.
Callus does something that Thrawn doesn't like. And Thrawn puts him on the front lines and him at the point of one of these attacks and says,
Totally.
go do the thing, when we know that the thing is a sacrifice play that's going to get him killed. So that I would expect to be the face heel turn.
Sure.
Because
Yeah.
he's seen how the rebels treat each other. He's seen that they treat each other as family. And we got that really nice emotional moment of him limping back to his drab barracks all alone. Like, I think he's starting to get it on a more emotional level and see that they have this thing that I will never get here. I can have people fear me. I can have people respect me. but it is not the same as this willingness to do whatever you can to
Yeah.
keep the people around you alive.
Definitely.
Like, he's never going to get that with the Empire, and I think he knows it at this point.
Yeah.
It's a matter of acting on it.
I am reaching back.
And I feel a bit like
Yep, he gonna
and
die.
I feel like Thrawn is absolutely the factor that could push him over the edge.
Oh, yeah.
To go, you know what? I'm out.
Peace. Like, it was bad enough when you were when like the Inquisitor was beheading people in offices.
Right, totally.
That was
then
unfortunate.
there's this.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which is a whole other level.
You definitely feel like there's a line he won't cross, or like there's gonna be a straw that breaks.
with Callus for sure.
There's a line that Callus won't cross that Thrawn will merrily throw him over.
Right, exactly.
Bye.
And it almost seems to me, because based on the preview with Constantine, it's like he's like, oh, what, me? You want me to like personally go do this thing? Like I think like I feel like I'm up in the air about whether Constantine's going to survive the next episode, and I think that either way, there's gonna be some sort of realization of like, I'm being used.
Either the rebels are gonna kill him, or his incompetence is going, he's gonna come back, and Thrawn is like, well, you're incompetent. Please walk off this plank here.
Yes. No,
Thrawn
totally.
is effective because everyone around him is a chess piece.
Yep.
That seems to be his view of the world.
Yes.
And I would like to see that come back to bite
Except
him.
for maybe Governor Price.
Yeah,
I don't know.
she's.
Yeah,
I think that
they're
they're like
simpatico.
legit bros.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Like not a romance or anything.
No,
but, like,
not at all.
simpatico for
Not
sure.
at all. Of course not. But anyway, guys, that is it for this week. Thank you so much for tuning in. Katie, where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me on Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram, and YouTube at Kiaxet. That is Kiaxet. I'm also on Snapchat at Kia Prime. We have Z Nation on Mondays, Arrow on Wednesdays, and on Thursdays we alternate between Robots in Disguise and Ruby. This Thursday is Robots in Disguise. We're covering 2 episodes. It's going to be a blast. You should watch it.
Megan.
I'm Megan. You guys can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at TheMenguin. That's TheMenguin. I'm also on a bunch of shows here at AfterBuzz, and I write articles for The Movie Chick. That's Chick with 2 Ks. Be sure to check those out. I also did an I Talk Movies earlier today with the cast and crew of Followed. Be sure to check that out on the Popcorn Talk Network.
Sweet. And I'm Emma Fyffe. I can be found all over the internet wherever Emma Fyffes are sold at my name, Emma Fyffe, EMMAFYFFE. And if you want to know what I'm doing at all times, just follow me on Twitter because I tweet a lot. I'm also on Instagram at Emma Fyffe, and I technically have an Emma Fyffe Facebook page that I regrettably... It exists. More people are liking it, so I'm thinking of updating it a little more and being a little more diligent there. Thank you again so much to everybody who joined us, everybody in the hashtag and the live chat, etc., etc., etc. We will be back next week, same time, same place, 6 o'clock p.m. Pacific time here at AfterBuzz TV for another episode of the Star Wars Rebels After Show. We will see you then.
Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.
Well, thank you.